Hello, Sonoma County. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something not as fun as some of the other subjects we talk about in a lot of our other videos, but it's something that if you at all turn on the news, scrolling online, you're going to see stuff about this. So today we're going to talk about homeowners insurance in California. Okay, it comes up every time when we're working with buyers and sellers because they got to go buy somewhere, and if they're staying within the state, this could be something that they're dealing with. So today we're going to talk about what's going on, what are some options, what are some tips if you are buying a home and how to navigate through this homeowners insurance, and what does it look like in the future. So stay tuned, we're going to touch on all of those. But first, I'm Julie Sullivan with Sullivan Group Real Estate, and we help people move in and out and all around Sonoma County every year. We try and stay on top of all of these subjects because they affect you guys when you're buying or selling a home, and we want to make sure that everybody's protected and you are in the know of the latest stuff going on within our industry. Okay, so homeowners insurance in California, and not just in California, but this is becoming an issue in a lot of other states. We all know here, we had our big firestorm in 2017, and there's been subsequent fires since then. Southern California has had their fair share of wildfires as well as a lot of other states. I mean, Oregon and Washington, Arizona, Idaho, I mean, we just hear it on the news all the time. Florida is having some big insurance issues as well because they've had multiple big storms. Hurricane Ian, was that a couple of years ago, I think it was like the third largest hurricane to ever hit land back east there. So they had just like billions of dollars worth of claims. And then this also reaches beyond the United States. Like Canada has seen big fires. Greece is on fire right now. A little island in Greece is just burning out of control apparently. Then Europe has seen fires. And a lot of these insurance companies that we know of here in California, in the United States, are owned by bigger companies, or they're all kind of conglomerates that also insure homes in Canada or homes in Europe. So it's not just our little area that gets affected when a fire occurs. These global events also help affect the state of our insurance as we see it today. So Californians have seen from the research I did about a 16% increase in home owners insurance premiums. And that's just kind of an average. I'm sure you can find people that'll tell you it's even more than that, or their policies have been canceled. Maybe other people haven't really been affected by it as much, depending on where you live. So, but I think overall, everyone kind of has an insurance story. We have a new listing coming up out in an area where fire has not affected the area yet. It's a beautiful kind of lots of trees and it on the property and surrounding the property. And so when we were there for the initial listing appointment, I did ask, I said, curious, have you had any insurance issues? And he said, no, he hasn't had an issue, but his policy has doubled over the last few years. And I was like, whoa, okay. So like I said, I think everybody has some kind of an insurance story they could share with you as the whole landscape of homeowners insurance here is changing rapidly. So I think the biggest news that we all have kind of heard, and if you haven't, a couple of the biggest insurance companies, like kind of the household names, Allstate and State Farm, have completely pulled out of writing homeowners policies in California. Farmers insurance is limiting the number of policies they are writing every year. And I'm hearing that from our insurance brokers that we work with. I'm hearing that with a lot of different companies. They'll say, okay, we're going to write policies in these zip codes, and we're only going to write X number of policies per month as kind of a way to protect themselves and the potential loss that could come down the road. So that's one way some of these insurance companies are staying in California, but protecting protecting their assets as well. So I already kind of touched a little bit on why this is changing. Of course, here in California, it's wildfires. Other parts of the country, it could be caused from different types of natural disasters that then turned into huge insurance claims. So another interesting reason and it's not allowed anymore apparently in California and probably other areas as well, is homeowners, say you had a loss from one of our fires, homeowners could assign a third party on their behalf to navigate their insurance claim, like say their contractor or their roofer. What was happening, unfortunately, was a lot of these service providers and contractors and so on were making false claims, and then that just escalated the loss, escalated the number of lawsuits. And so not only was billions paid out in claims, even billions more, and I mean to the tune of 2 and 3 times what was paid out in claims was paid in legal fees and lawsuits. So that's just mind-boggling. So unfortunately, the scammers kind of, one bad apple ruins it for everybody, and that's kind of been the case with this as well, and another reason for the state of the insurance and where it is today. So because of all these losses, the insurance companies claim that they have gone through all of the underwriting assets they built up over the last 20 years in these more recent claims and lawsuits that they have had to deal with. So that's where it comes from. And then this is kind of interesting. Insurance companies are also insured. So they're the insurers of the insurers. This is where it kind of gets complicated, and I won't go too much into it, but so insurance companies also have insurance on their company for exactly what has happened in a lot of different areas. Devastating, catastrophic kind of disasters that, like our 17 fires that took out 5,000 homes and structures, or Hurricane Ian back in Florida. I mean, the devastation was so widespread and huge that then they have to go tap into their insurance for the insurers, and now that is gone through the roof price wise as well. So it's all the trickle down effect, as with everything else. And then our insurance premiums have also increased, because of the risk. We are still considered at moderate risk for wildfires over the next forward years. And inflation plays a part in it as well, because the cost of materials and the cost of construction when something has to be repaired or rebuilt, and that all has to be taken into account within our insurance policies. So what is being done to help mitigate this, and how do you as a potential homeowner or a current homeowner navigate through all this stuff? California does have a insurance plan that can be tapped into. It's called the California Fair Plan. Interestingly enough, the California Fair Plan has been in place since 1969. This is nothing that was just, developed because of the recent years of wildfires here. It has been in place for years and years. The Fair Plan is meant to be used when you have been denied coverage. So if you can get coverage, if you can get reasonable coverage through one of the other private insurance carriers, that is what you are going to do. But the Fair Plan is in place is if you've been denied and you can show you've been denied. I think you have to show you've been denied 2 or 3 different carriers that no one wants to insure you or insure your home, then you could be eligible for the Fair Plan. Now, the Fair Plan, there are pros and cons to it. The pros is you are going to have coverage and your home will be protected. But the cons is it is very basic coverage. It's going to cover like fire, smoke, lightning. That's really almost about it. Just kind of those bare bone basics. It doesn't cover freezing. We do get cold winters here and pipes can freeze and break. Not covered. Theft or vandalism, not covered. Earthquake. Snow, we don't really get snow, but snow, falling objects, a volcanic eruption, again, not a concern here, but you can see it's just really basic coverage. So when you get the California Fair Plan, you almost always have to get like a supplemental plan. Kind of like, when you get older and you go on Medicare, you got to get that supplemental plan to kind of fill in the areas that Medicare doesn't cover. This is the same thing. You got to get another plan to fill in and make sure you are truly protected with the things that the California Fair Plan doesn't cover. That's a little bit on how that fair plan works. We have kind of a joke. One of our brokers calls it the California not so fair plan, but it is a stopgap measure if in the event you can't be covered by anybody else. So when you are purchasing a home, what we always recommend with our buyers is as soon as you get an accepted offer, we send you the names of a couple of our different insurance brokers that we trust and love to use and know do a fantastic job, and start pricing out insurance. Make sure it's not the deal buster in your purchase. And the other thing that's really recommended right now is get a quote. You're like, cool, this quote's good, this is workable, I can do this. Get it bound. You have to bind that policy for one main reason that I already mentioned a little bit earlier, is that a lot of these insurance companies are only writing X number of policies per month. So say you get into contract like the 10th of the month and they're like, yeah, sure, we'll write your policy, you're covered, you're all good, you're okay with the price. And then by the end of the month when you're closing escrow, they say, no, we're not writing it anymore, we've hit our max. And all of a sudden you're scrambling last minute to try and find another insurance policy, which may be able to be done, might not be so easy. So if you get the policy bound, they have to write that policy. You are now being counted as one of the policies they're going to write for that specific time period. So we help you navigate through all of that. We make sure we keep all your protections in place in the contract, that if in the event everything else is looking great with the house, but the insurance piece doesn't come together, it is a reason for you to cancel contract and not lose any of your money or your deposit money and so on. So we'll talk more about that as we work with you, but really something we didn't really even have to think about. I mean, sometimes people just go get their insurance policy at the last minute, and that just can't be done anymore. So we really have to be really forward proactive on the new policies for sure. So I think, how is this all going to play out into the future? Of course, a lot of it we don't know. I did talk to one of our insurance brokers and ask that very question, like, what is being done right now? Is the Department of Insurance, the California Department of Insurance and these insurance companies, are they coming to the table to find kind of a equitable solution for everybody? And he had an interesting response to that question, and he said, unfortunately, no. Right now, they're not talking. They're actually kind of like both sides are, as he said, digging their trenches and digging down their heels. And he goes, he said, I can kind of see both sides. I mean, these insurance companies have been hit hard, but the Department of Insurance is like going, you guys need to figure this out. You're also one of the biggest businesses in America. But so they will come to a solution. In one of my broker's opinions, he said it'll probably take a couple years, but he also remembered back to, I want to say probably 30 plus years ago, California went through a similar problem when it came to earthquake insurance. Earthquake insurance used to be outrageously expensive, and like nobody had earthquake insurance. And it took a couple years for the state and the insurance companies to find a solution and start writing affordable, equitable earthquake policies for people. So in his opinion, he says it's all cyclical. This is just the new issue we're dealing with right now, and it will work itself out, which is great down the road. But what happens when you need insurance now? And that's where, we're here to help you. We're here to navigate. Happy to refer you to our, excellent local insurance brokers here that can really hopefully help you find a solution and a decent policy that has you well covered and doesn't break the bank. I hope that gave you a little better idea of what's going on in California right now with homeowners policies. It's like I said, it's on the news all the time. There's articles about it. It's changing constantly. We're trying to stay up with it so that we can continue educating you guys. But please reach out if you have any questions. Like I said, we have amazing local brokers that I'm happy to refer you to. and we'll find a solution. I've not had a client that we haven't been able to find a solution for yet, and I hope it continues that way. So I'm really glad you tuned in and followed along today about this not so exciting but really important topic. I'd love it if you liked this video. If you want to see more about everything Sonoma County real estate and Sonoma County, subscribe to our channel and ding the bell because we release new videos every week and we'd love to notify you when we do. And we hope to have you follow along and continue watching with us. Bye for now.